Welcome into this Tuesday edition of ESPN FC. Craig Burley, Stevie Nichols, Sebastian Salazar with you here in studio. We'll be joined throughout the show by Frank LeBeuf and Sid Lowe, our contributors from abroad. Plenty to discuss something like this in the international setting where club rivalries will boil.
Well, I've not seen it. And
never?
Almost a decade playing. Listen.
I would assume the Scotland camp knows a rivalry.
If the allegation is that he physically went for Joe Gomez, and that's what it seems to be, then I'm telling you, I have not seen that. Apart from maybe like at half-time or things boil over. I have not seen that walking up into a training camp 2 or 3 days before. I've seen people that don't get on. I've seen people that don't like each other and won't talk to each other, and it's very cliquey. But I haven't seen somebody walk in and allegedly grab somebody by the throat or whatever it is he done. I've not seen that.
Yeah, this is, Stevie, I think different because it's not an on-field row. This is an off-field. This event didn't take place on the training ground.
Yeah, I know. I think the most important thing to look at this is that this is not. There was no punches thrown. Nobody's got a broken leg. This was two people posturing. This is what it was. Posturing. There was no physical harm done to anybody. Now, both at club level and international level, I've seen players posturing. A bit of push and shoving, a bit of grabbing. Everybody runs in and breaks it all up. And then it's done and dusted. How this is blown into, God, World War III, I do not know. Because it's a bit of posturing and it happens a lot.
Frank, is this a big deal or not?
Well, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. You know, they're going to go along together and work together for their country. But as Craig, I've never seen that with the national team. I guess it happened in the 90s, beginning of 90s in France, where Paris Saint-Germain and Marseille had a big rivalry, and half of the squad were from Marseille, the other half from Paris. And it's why they didn't qualify for the World Cup in '94 in the United States. But since then, and since I played for France, I've never seen that. It was always a problem for me to play against Thierry Henry when we had games against Arsenal or Sylvain Wittot, because I knew that I would have to play with him during the week or the week after for the national team. You have to understand that has been for me the main problem with the national team in England, because clubs were above the national team. I think the FA and Southgate worked hard to make sure that all players will be involved with the national team, will work hard and will work for their nationality and not for the club they belong to. So it can be a big deal. It can make the FA going backwards in the battle that they have to have, but hopefully with the result they can have and the team they have, they can achieve something, hopefully.
Stevie, does the punishment fit the crime for you? If you're the manager, what do you dole out?
I don't get this. Why is he getting punished?
Because he's attacking.
I mean, so this is really bad.
Everything we've heard about this England team is the harmony.
Well, he did say.
Don't you fall for all that flannel?
Okay. Well, he did say that he walked in. He did say that he walked in, not after a training session, not during a training session, not during a game. He did walk in to the first meeting or the first arrival of the players at the training camp, and allegedly, I say allegedly, grabbed Gomez by the throat.
Pretty much all day.
I mean, that's a little strong.
That's toxic, right?
Because you know you can fall out with people. However, Stevie's right.
Correcting everything as
if this had been a real nail biter against another powerhouse of European football, Raheem Sterling wouldn't be missing the game. Because that's just contradictory to how managers manage. Because if that happened, then England lost and didn't get to the Euro or whatever happened, I'm just throwing this out there.
For your resume. You don't want any errors.
Gareth Southgate would have got.
I use Grammarly for
Frank, is Gareth Southgate going too far here with the one-match suspension?
I've used every tool out there, and Grammarly is by far the best.
No. I think it's only fair, and as the guy said, you know, when it's not really an important game, they can win against Montenegro without Raheem Sterling.
Download Grammarly for free.
And they're going to be qualified, so it's not a problem. I think it's just an alert of how to make sure that the players, when they come to the national team ground, they forget about the rivalry that they have with their clubs. That's it. It's not a big deal. It can happen. As Southgate said, it's emotional sometimes. but
It would keep him
between
connected so
adults,
he could share
even
pics
if
from
they're
up here
young adults,
and,
they should
down
handle that,
there.
and he
Stay
shouldn't go
connected
further
with
than
3
that.
networks in one with a little
Carry
help
on,
from Google Fi.
play well, and it's going to be everything's going to be
Water
all right.
turns it into a lake
For
and
the
go
adults,
skiing on it.
Let adults,
I want to
not
move to
school
Austin and teach
That's what you do with
class.
school. Take
What
school
class?
by team.
Professor, I don't
teach
know
them
what
a
class, I don't
lesson.
care.
They let them
Underwater,
learn.
underwater basket weaving, I'm in.
So when the second
I
time
don't get
this
the glass
happens,
of water thing. What am I
just
just
know
what does that mean?
I didn't punish
Glass
it.
half full, maybe?
You know what gets
Second
me?
time, though.
I picture
You
him
know what
driving that
gets-
car.
You're going to have a second time. You don't have
Is
to behave
it
in
the
the
second
first.
time?
There will be a
Is this
second.
the second
No,
time?
it's not.
No,
the
they're
second
not.
time.
Thank you very
He
much.
teaches
You know
a
what
class,
gets
does he
me?
not?
I think he does. I think he's a
Seriously.
professor.
Let us
Can't
go.
we keep
At Tuesday.
anything
And now,
quiet
back
these
to the
days?
Steelers.
Rio
Let's do it.
Ferdinand
Many
made that
counted them
point.
out.
That
They fell
gets
to
me.
0-3 to start the
That
season.
gets
Big
me.
Ben goes on
Can't we
IR.
just- right, there's
and it
two
looks like
things
he might
here.
be sending a
We either-
a high
People
first rounder.
either have the
crazy
ability
to
to keep
Miami
this quiet.
in return for
Because when
Minka
it happens,
Fitzpatrick. Now they'd be in
it
the
happens.
playoffs at the season.
What should
and
happen then
right
is
now,
all the
gotta
senior
talk
people
Steelers
around you,
and
get
Omar
everybody
Ruiz
in,
has more.
staff, everybody say, listen, this
Good
is
morning,
closed
Kay.
doors.
The Steelers
If
have
this
won
gets out,
4
I'll
in a
find
row,
out who
but
puts it
certainly
out.
could use
So
some
we
help
keep this quiet.
in the run
That's why
game.
we've been
Jalen Samuels led the team
pretty
with
good
just
over the
29
last couple of
yards
years or whatever
on
it is.
Sunday
We've
against
had
the Rams.
some
That's the
semblance
lowest
of
for a
success.
Steelers leading rusher
It's because
since James
we've got a
Conner
decent
had
unity
21
here. So I
in
don't
week
want
1.
this getting
Speaking
out.
of Conner,
Or
he
two,
could be on
it was
his
so
way back.
bad.
He told me
It
yesterday
doesn't seem to be, but it was
he
so
thinks
bad
he'll be able
that
to
he
go
just sends
on
him back and
Thursday,
says,
but no
listen, I might
guarantees
think
at
about
this
you
point.
the
He
next
was
squad,
listed
but you're
as
out
a
of this
full
one because I can't
participant
accept
in
that.
an estimated
We're kind of
practice
somewhere in the
report
middle here.
yesterday.
Sending
He
somebody
told me
back
he
up
wants
the
to
road,
make
then
sure
phoning
he
them
has
up,
the
and all
full
the players
strength
have discussed
for
it, and
that
I've made a
shoulder to
decision,
hold
I'll
up
come
in
back.
pass protection.
It's
Wants to make sure he has the
between.
full range of
Keep
motion
it quiet or
in the
send the
shoulder
guy
if he's
home.
able to catch
One or
the
t'other.
football
I did both.
out of the backfield.
I did
The
play it.
Steelers looking for their 5th win in a row against the
lucky it was
Browns on the short
international
week
and I got
on Thursday Night
I
Football.
phoned the international manager and said,
Appreciate you,
I don't
Omar.
want
We
you picking
cannot
this
wait
guy
for this one just
because
a
of
couple of
physical
days away. And it's hard to
which
say
was
just how
assault,
good that Steelers
not a
team has
little
been since Minka Fitzpatrick
posturing,
came aboard
assault.
since week 4. Pittsburgh's
And they
5
kept
and
it
1.
quiet.
They rank towards the top of the
Can be.
NFL in a few
Of course it can.
categories. Look at that.
I think
Turnovers.
it's a good time to bring in
Points
Sid
per
here. There's
game.
not a national
Fighting.
team.
This
Well,
week they've
not
got that
necessarily
trip to
fighting.
Cleveland
But
on
not a national
ESPN
team that
FC.
knows
Time
rivalries and how to
taking
manage
the
them more than
seriously.
Spain. Sid, how did Spain
contenders
overcome
in the
Barcelona,
AFC.
Real Madrid
In the
famously
AFC,
and have all
I don't
that
know.
success?
Playoff
you know, a
contenders,
decade ago?
yes. I keep beating this drum that
Well,
the
I mean,
AFC
in a way,
playoff
it's not a
admittance
simple answer
policy is going to be
because bear in
absolutely
mind
nuts.
that
Week
the worst
17,
of the
I feel like we're
confrontation
in
between
for some
Barcelona and
kind
Real
of
Madrid
like
happened after
Andy
Spain
Dalton
won the
getting the
2010
Bills
World
into
Cup.
the
And actually, that was
playoffs
one of the
type of
reasons why
hysteria.
some
The
Spain
problem is, though,
players
like,
at Real
no one really
Madrid
thought the
didn't
Bills were going
take
to
on
do
board
much
some of
once
the
they
things that
got
Mourinho
in,
was
and
saying
they
because their
didn't. I think the
response to him
Steelers
when
will
he
get
was
in.
trying to build a
If they're going to
rivalry,
make
trying to
some
build a
noise in the
hatred between
AFC
Madrid and
contenders,
Barcelona,
you
was
need
to say, well, we just want to
huge
World
jump
Cup
from
these
Mason
guys. These
Rudolph.
guys are
Like,
all
you can- a
right.
defense
But
you
of
can
course,
ride
what
into the
happened over the
playoffs,
next
but
2
like,
years,
if you're gonna
and they
win
did
some
win a
playoff
European
games, you're gonna beat the
Championship in the middle of
Ravens,
this,
the Texans,
is that,
or
yeah, there was
somebody,
tension.
you gotta have
And there
the
was
quarterback be a
tension
lot
which did
better. A lot
carry
of
into
teams are
the
gonna get
squad.
in the club.
But I think
I don't know what kind of
fundamentally there
time
was
they have when they
always a
get
belief,
All I
perhaps
see is 5
helped
and
by
4,
the
right?
fact
And how
that
they
they'd already
got
won the World
here
Cup
might not be
together.
pretty.
But you know
Remember
what? When it gets to the tournament,
they
that's
almost
what
lost to the
matters
Dolphins.
more.
They were down
Now,
14-0.
obviously, look, in
And they
this,
had some
I
really awful
completely
games the
defer
first 2 weeks of the
to
season,
the
but
three
they're 5
guys in
and
the
4,
studio
they're
because
alive, and
they've
they're
played the
believing
game
it.
and they've
Minka
seen it from the
Fitzpatrick might be the
inside.
difference.
But
Kudos to that
it
team
always
because
seems to me that it's
when they
quite
lost those
difficult
first
from an
couple games of the
international
season, everyone
perspective
was
to kind
jumping
of
off the
break
boat
down
saying,
those
hey,
rivalries
Roethlisberger's
because,
out.
of course,
Save
those
that
players
first-round
are
pick.
with their
Lottery
club
picks out,
teammates
do something.
all of the time.
They doubled
And they're
down
with the
and said,
national
let's
team only a
add
short period of
first-round
time,
talent
and they go
and
away
trade
and
a
then they
future
come back
first rounder.
again.
One of the most aggressive moves you'll
All
ever
right, thank
see
you very
for a
much,
team
Sid. A
that
reminder, make
started
sure
off
you
the
join us
season
for
with no wins
tomorrow's
early
show.
on.
Some people hated that move.
A lot of people hated that move. They thought it was stupid. They said, you saved that pick. You might be drafting a quarterback.
quarterback next year.
What the
Guess what?
La Liga
They're
table
5
looks
and
like
4.
heading into the
Yeah,
international break.
they can
Barcelona,
take
Okay.
Don't let them
Madrid,
get in. That defense is
game
for
in
real.
hand.
I'm
tied
here
atop
for
the
every
league,
storyline
Atletico
surrounding this
Madrid
game.
and
Just like you
Sevilla
guys are
just
talking
1
about
point
the
back,
new
rounding
faces
out
and new places.
Yeah.
Look
your
at
top
Patrick.
4. Of
Of
course,
course,
the story
Odell
of the
Beckham,
weekend,
Kareem
Lionel
Hunt
Messi and
now
those
on the
free
roster for the
kicks,
Browns.
which on
Both
yesterday's
of these
show,
teams
Stevie
coming off
explained
of a
was just
victory.
down to the
Also, the
ball.
relationship
But we
between
can
these
see
two
Messi there has
organizations. As you guys know, I have two
teams,
sons.
whole teams,
Nate is
Juventus, Real
15.
Madrid, and
Nehemiah is
Manchester City.
13. The reason I put
Here's
my
some
hand
more
up higher is
context
because
from
Nehemiah
Sid
is
Lowe.
slightly taller than his
Messi's
older
hit
brother.
rate with free
And
kicks,
as of
the
recently, the
up to
last
end
year or
goal
so,
this season.
put
Well, only get
myself
a free
within this
kick, and the ball
division.
is
Can't wait for this game.
anywhere
Neither
between
of your
1
sons
yard
are
and 10 yards
Mason
outside
Rudolph,
the
though, is
area.
the thing. We're not talking
Messi
Big
doesn't
Ben and
score.
Baker Mayfield here,
You're
right?
kind of
Who's
sitting
a
there
little bit
watching
more
going,
out of
yeah,
Mason on
he's
this
not that
one.
good, is he?
I will say the Steelers
And
game
it
against
really has reached
the
that
Ravens
point.
that
He's
went to
got to
overtime.
score a brilliant
At that
goal
point,
every
when it
time
happened,
now.
I was like,
Or
oh,
you
knock
kind
on
of
the
feel
Ravens. Like,
disappointed.
you
You
couldn't
kind
beat
of
the
feel like
Steelers,
he-
and now it's,
he
oh, you
hasn't
picked them off
done
3
what
times
he
in that
put
game.
26 points on the
There's
Steelers,
a whole
yeah.
load of things that obviously make this interesting. One, of course,
There's
is
that.
just the
Yeah, what else we got?
the lunacy.
All
if you
season
like,
long,
of
we're
the
celebrating the
statistics in
NFL's
first place.
iconic
The other is
moments,
that this has
players, and
changed.
teams of the last
And this
100
has changed
years,
over years,
including
and
this
he's improved
legendary
enormously
defensive line.
over
Take a
the
look.
years. And I think that tells you something, that we tend to look at Messi as a purely natural talent, which of course he is. But I think as well it probably reinforces to us that this is natural talent that's got an awful lot of work behind it as well.
Bonker, Sid. I think you hit it right on the head. How about this from Ernesto Valverde? Describing the ever-discussed dependency on Lionel Messi. Quote, it's impossible not to depend on Messi. That's how it works. Sid, is this the most dependent that Barcelona has ever been on Lionel Messi?
The Steeler defense.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, look, that phrase from Valverde, we could be unpacking this all night. We really
Legendary
could be
defensive
talking about
line,
this
and
and
the
what this
Steelers
means
keeping
and how
on
it
that
impacts
tradition
upon
with
other
defense.
players,
They
what it
take on
means
the
in terms of
Browns
the
this Thursday
responsibility
night,
that they take,
8
what it
p.m.
means
Eastern
in
on
terms
NFL
of their
Network,
willingness
Fox,
to take things
Prime
on,
Video.
what it
You
means
like
in
that
terms of the
rap?
structure
I
of
love
the
that
team.
rap. I love all
And it's
those
not
raps.
perfect.
Yeah,
There's
he does a
absolutely
good
no
job.
doubt about it.
And
It is
Baby.
not perfect
Yeah, I
the
love
way
the
that
Baby.
Barcelona is
More
set up.
to Baby.
Because
We'll
on the
love
face
too.
of
He's out in
it,
the
the
newsroom in
idea
Culver
of give the
City
ball to the
taking
best player in the world
I
is
think,
not a bad
okay, guys,
plan.
with
But if it's
all
your
due
only
respect
plan,
to my
I think it is a
financial
bad plan.
planner, I may have to get my stock tips
There was
from
a moment
Steelers
the weekend
rookie
when Valverde
linebacker
was
Devin
asked
Bush.
about
You
Messi
see,
and
Bush
he
has
said,
been
well, look,
spot on with his
it's true
predictions
that when
on how
Messi
many
has the ball, you
turnovers
feel like
the
anything can
defense
happen.
will
And of course,
have
that
from
anything
week
includes
to
a Barcelona
week.
team who really
Bush started
aren't very
making these
good. And
predictions
against
in
Celtic,
week
they
6
really weren't very good
when he said
at
he
all,
would get his first
winning
defensive
games because of
touchdown,
Messi.
and when
And
you
actually,
know
of
it,
course,
he
long-term,
got
that's
it
not a good
against
thing.
the Chargers.
We saw that 2
and
years
he's
against
been
Roma in
on
the
a
Champions
mini
League,
roll
and we
ever
certainly saw it
since.
last year in the
His
second
bird
leg
had
against
4
Liverpool in the
sacks and
Champions
3
League.
picks against
Sid,
the
who's
Rams
that more
on
on? Is that on
Sunday.
Valverde
It
or
was
is that on the
Bush
players?
earlier in the week when asked to give
That's
another
very
prediction.
difficult. I mean, I think it's on all sorts of things. I think it's on the structure and the
Sunday at 4
construction of the
o'clock,
squad, which I think is more about directorial level and
Sunday.
presidential level than Valverde. I think it is about Valverde in terms of the way that he
Two
sets
picks.
the team up. Also, I think it does say something about the players because obviously we've seen moments when Messi's been missing, and I know we've
sacks.
moved on from this now, but Neymar and
Four
Suarez have
sacks,
stepped
2
up. We
picks.
saw them win the
Like,
Clasico last
you
year.
gonna put
Scored
names
5
to the
goals
picks
without
again, or are
Messi.
you
So it
gonna
does
just let
suggest
this
there's
one
run? I'm gonna let
something,
those flow.
whether it's at
Okay.
some sort of
I'm gonna let those
emotional
flow.
or psychological level, that means the other players
sacks, 2
kind of
picks, he
either
called it,
hide behind
absolutely.
Messi or hand
Meanwhile,
over too much
Rams wide
responsibility for
receiver
Messi.
Brandon Cooks
And then you have
hasn't
to ask the
played
question,
since
and I
week
think it's
8.
legitimate to ask
He's not
it,
going to
whether
play
Messi
week
in
11
some way,
either.
whether it's
A
directly
second
or indirectly,
concussion keeping
demands
Cooks
that,
on
and whether
the
that's
sidelines.
problematic as well.
He's
And
visited
as I
concussion
say, it's very
specialists over
difficult to
the
avoid
past
this,
2
as
weeks,
Valverde says.
leading to
Of course,
speculation
you depend
about
on
his
Messi.
future
It's
playing
how it
status,
works.
but he
When you've
posted a
got a player
message to
this
Instagram
amazing,
saying,
perhaps
quote,
that is
can't
how it
wait to
works.
get back
But
on
maybe
the
the
field
challenge is to
this
find a way
year.
of
The
having a
Broncos
structure
getting
around it that
their
means it's not
QBs
purely about
back.
him,
Rookie
but
Drew
that
Lock
continues to
will
get the
begin
best out
practicing
of
this
him.
week
because
after spending
he
the
is so
entire
far
season
ahead of
so
everyone else
far
at the moment
on
in Spain,
injured
at least,
reserve with a
that
thumb
it
injury.
kind of feels
And Coach
natural
Vic
that people end up
Fangio says
deferring
Locke
to Messi
will
all the
work
time.
with the scout
Sid, you
team.
talk about
Denver
people
will have
deferring to
21
Messi.
days to
What about
decide to
Antoine
activate
Griezmann?
Locke
Is that
or
kind of
shut
the
him
best
down
way to sum
for
up
the
his
rest
struggles
of
since
the
joining
season.
Barcelona?
Fangio was asked what it would take
I think
for
it's part
Locke
of
to
it.
get
I think with
into the
Griezmann, obviously,
rotation.
there are a
He
couple
said,
of other
quote, I
elements,
want to see
and we
good
saw in the
quarterback
summer that
play
Griezmann
that
was
he
aware of the
belongs.
fact that
So
perhaps he
far,
wasn't the player
we've
that
seen
some of the
Brandon
senior
Allen
members of the
belong.
Barcelona squad
He started his
wanted,
first
and
game
obviously by
against the
senior
Browns.
members,
That was
you
a
tend to
win,
think of
but
Messi,
can guys
Suarez,
Hyped
perhaps
with the head
Busquets,
coach.
certainly Gerard
What a
Piqué,
game. These two teams
maybe
are
Jordi
awesome.
Alba,
27,
and that he was saying, well, I'm going to have to
24.
make
Either
up
one of
for
these
it
teams could represent
on
the
the
NFC in the
pitch. I'm
Super
not going to do it
Bowl.
off the pitch.
But the
And yet there's
guy
been a
they
lot of talk
got
about the
from
relationship
Houston,
between him and Messi,
Jadeveon
about the
Clowney,
building of a
was a maniac last night. Here he
a
is,
connection
along with his
that's
head
not
coach.
necessarily just about the way that they play. And he said, for example,
At
you
the
know,
end of
he's
the day, I
tried to
feel
drink
like I
mate with
left some
Messi
plays
and
like that. I
Suarez.
played a
He
great,
said, he
good
admitted
game,
that,
but it
look,
could've been better. I
he's not a guy that
could've
talks a
made
lot.
some more
I'm not a guy
plays
that
for my
talks a
team
lot.
and
So
try
it's
to,
natural that
you know,
we don't
give more
talk a lot.
chances with
And
the
there's an
ball, try to
awareness
force
there, I
more
think, that
turnovers,
there's a
but
broader
at the
question
end of the day,
beyond
like I
just the
said,
pitch.
man, we
But
got
then
5
bring it to
sacks
the
and keep
pitch.
you hits.
And one of the
we
things,
got
of
the
course,
win,
that happens
and,
on the pitch
we
is
can grow
that
from this.
Antoine Griezmann,
I think it's a breakout game. I just thought he was so impressive all night long. I don't know how
role is either through the middle.
I thought they were tackling him. He was just penetrating so fast
coming in
and
off the right,
so furiously.
Messi's position. And I do think there is fundamentally a question mark
Taking a look at where
which
the
isn't necessarily
Niners
insurmountable, because he's a
hopefully
brilliant
here and the
player,
Seahawks
and he has
sit in
brilliant
NFC
players around him. If they can
playoff
find a way of
picture. Of course,
understanding
it
each
is
other,
hard to
then
say
perhaps it can
that the
work.
Seahawks are
There
the
is a
kings of the
fundamental
division because
basic
they're
problem,
still
which
in
is
place with
Antoine
Briggs.
Griezmann's position
And there's a rematch from Week 17.
And
I
it's
wonder
taken
how
by
different
two
it looks
players
with
who
Kittle
are
and
either
Emmanuel
better
Sanders out
or
there
more
at that
entrenched
point.
or
Probably
more
would have gone
important
down
than he is.
a little bit differently
Let's bring Frank
yesterday.
in
But
on
who's the
Antoine
king of the
Griezmann here.
NFC West?
Frank, I believe
Ooh,
you
the
mentioned
king of the
before,
NFC West. You
Griezmann
still
must
gotta
serve the
respect the
king when
49ers,
talking
because
about
they have
Messi.
an
How much
8-1
of a
record.
problem is that, Frank?
But the guy who shined the most in the biggest moment.
I don't
Russell
know. I
Wilson.
didn't talk about
He's the king of
that
the
with
NFL.
Antoine,
That's
but
your
I think it's a
MVP.
problem.
You
When
know what's funny though? In the beginning of the
he should
game,
have thought
he didn't look like
twice
MVP
before
Russ.
signing
I'm pretty sure the 49ers defense heard all of us talk about how great Russell Wilson is, how he's running away with the MVP trophy. And I remember you said on the show, if he wins this game, he will win the MVP. I know they were chomping at the bits to get him, and they did. They hit him early. They hit him often. They hit him hard. The ball was popping out, and I was thinking to myself, how many quarterbacks can take these type of hits?
We was talking before about one solution and what dependence is Messi. But imagine if you had another choice of playing for Valverde with Griezmann. Do you think Messi will have acceptance toward that? I'm not sure about that. So it's a complicated situation. I would have been Griezmann. Never, even if it's a dream, I would have signed for Barcelona because of the situation of the Barcelona,
If you write anything
FC
on your computer,
with
you need to get
the King
Grammarly.
Messi.
I write pretty
it's
much
tricky
all day,
because you
every
want to
day,
play with the
and
best player
Grammarly
in the
makes my
world.
writing better.
You want to
As a
play
student,
in Barcelona,
I like that it's
because you want to be successful.
correcting everything
But
as
it's
I'm
hard
writing
to
Grammar
be
errors, spelling
another
errors. It even helps me
star
find the right words to
where
use so I can
only
say
one
what
star
I
can
want to
be
say.
a star.
It catches
He's
all
Messi.
those embarrassing little mistakes.
Yeah, Amina and Nikki are back on the latest edition of the Siri Awesome podcast.
I was
The
just
talking
horrible
points.
at typing.
Grammarly is like my
Ronaldo
secret
and his
weapon
fury
for writing
being subbed
papers.
off.
It's the perfect tool for your resume. You don't want any
All right, then
errors.
time for
2022,
behind
2023,
Canada.
all of them. Throw Cabela's
Something
gift card
US
on
can
there.
begin to
Lottery
rectify when the two
scratchers.
teams
3,
meet
2,
on
1,
Saturday.
win.
Meanwhile, in a conference
Hey,
call
I think
today,
9 months from
Stewart,
tonight, there'll be a lot more
from
people in
the
this town named
hierarchy
Minka.
at
What
U.S.
do you think,
Soccer,
Dad?
sporting director, says,
Oh, what do you
quote,
mean it
I
ain't
have
Saturday
no fear
night?
at all that we are not going to qualify for the World Cup. I'm very, very confident about that. End quote. Is that what the sporting director should be saying after they lost to Canada, Stephen?
I'm not sure it's even just losing to Canada. If you look at the way they've played recently,
or the fact they didn't qualify last time around
with a better team.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with what he's saying. If you're going to say you have no fear whatsoever about not qualifying, you better have something to back it up with. And if anybody in that conference call had anything about them, they would have said, okay, then tell me why you're confident. That's what they should have done. And then I'd love to know what he's going to say, because there's nothing to say. I can't think of one reason why you're confident that you're going to qualify for the World Cup right now.
Yeah.
It can only be the opposition, which is really going to be one of the reasons that the US might get there, because there's no way, if the opposition was stronger across the board, that you could say, I'm confident in this group of players. The only way that it will happen and might happen is the fact that they eventually start playing better and the opposition is poor. Yeah. But at this moment in time, and we'll find out again this week again, because obviously there's another even bigger game now than what it would have been, because they lost to Canada the last time. But I think he has to choose his words a little more carefully.
We all should do that from
I think
time
so.
to time.
Well, I've often been told that, and I've ignored it.
Right, I misspoke. The game's not Saturday, actually Friday night in Orlando.
Hey.
Match you can catch on
Even I knew that.
ESPN 2. I know, because you've said it on your DVR. You like my broadcast, I'm told. CONCACAF Nations League, US, Canada, 7 o'clock Eastern time on the Deuce. Better defensively. That's what Unai Emery had to say about Arsenal's performance against Leicester City on the weekend. The match stats would beg to differ. 19 shots conceded by Arsenal, 7 of those shots on goal. Meanwhile, just 1 shot on goal for Arsenal in the 2-0 defeat. The season stats, not much better. Arsenal allowing the 3rd most shots this season in the Premier League. Last I checked, Bernd Leno has made more saves than any other goalie in the Premier League. All that data, well, apparently it means nothing to the Arsenal hierarchy. Here's their statement. We are as disappointed as everyone else with both our results and performances at this stage of the season. We firmly believe Unai is the right man for the job. We are all working intensively behind the scenes to turn things around and are confident we will. Unai is the right man for the job. Stevie, is he?
Well, if he's coming out with statements like the one he did about defending well, then I'm sorry, I don't get that. 19 shots, 7 on target, and you're defending well. I'd hate to see them defending poorly. No, there's nothing that makes sense anymore as far as Unai Emery's concerned, whether it's what he's saying after the game or what he's doing during the game with either his starting 11 or the changes he's making. You just have no idea right now what he's going to do or say next.
Craig?
No. I mean, the first year you got to just say, right, okay, let's wait and see. But now it's no clearer. It's not all his fault, don't get me wrong.
No.
But he's, there's a lot of problems that had to be fixed there after the long tenure of Arsene Wenger. Not just on the field, but behind the scenes. But for all the things Stevie said, the previous game, I think, was Wolves at home, or one of them, I can't remember the other, but it was Wolves at home when he says, tactically, we got it spot on today, and Wolves had 28 efforts on their goal. I mean, he's talking in riddles. His team are no further forward. He's changed the shape of the team again because he's still searching. Keeps changing the personnel. He was steadfast on Ozil, not playing, not travelling. Now all of a sudden, he's back in the fold. because he had a good 70 minutes against the Liverpool kids. So he's back playing again, which is nothing against Mesut Ozil, by the way, but it's saying, well, here's a guy that can't quite make his mind up because he's either not on the coach or he's playing. Doesn't make sense.
Arsenal 8 points back of the top 4 as we speak. Jules will be concerned about that. Gab will try and talk him off the ledge. It's the Gab and Jules podcast, available now. All of your very important questions answered daily on Extra Time. Make sure to check it out on our YouTube channel. Let's take a look at the bottom half of the Premier League table. That's where we find in 14th place, Spurs, just 6 points from the drop zone. In a difficult stretch, no wins in their last 5 Premier League games, coming off that 1-1 draw against Sheffield United on the weekend. I think the conversation used to be, well, Pochettino could leave. At what point, if you're Spurs, do you say, we got to move on from this manager? Things are bad.
No, they won't sack him.
Why not? Just because of loyalty off last year?
Well, not just last year, but he has done a good job over the piece. They're having a bad time now. But I was surprised at the weekend. I mean, they haven't played well, but I was surprised at the weekend just how much Sheffield United, who are ultimately a team who were promoted, but are a good side, how much they dominated them at home in London. I was really shocked at how they took the game to Spurs.
Was that a low point for this Spurs team?
Absolutely. I don't remember the last time at home they didn't look as though they had the upper hand and they were the team pushing, they were the team, trying to dominate the game. Teams need a lot of things, and one of the things they need is a chemistry and a belief together. And this shown against Sheffield United at home, they had neither of those. Neither of them.
And the VAR disallowed goal for Sheffield United as well. All right, well, that's all the time that we've got. For Craig, Stevie, I'm Seb. Thanks for watching this edition of ESPN FC. We'll see you next time. Hey there, everybody. Welcome into this edition of Extra Time. We got Craig, Stevie, Seb in studio. We've got Sid and Frank standing by as well. Thank you for your questions. Of course, we talked a lot about...
Why do you always talk about yourself?
Talk about myself?
Steve, Craig, Seb.
What? Should I just not introduce myself? Would you prefer that?
No, I'm just...
There's an empty chair here, nobody?
You say Seb as though it's somebody else. Yeah. You could say, and me, Sebastian Salazar.
I'm literally doing... How do I say it? My name again? There's nothing better than doing your job and being criticized live for it. That's good.
Constructive criticism is what it is.
Well, not live.
You're right.
Are you beyond that?
More criticism.
You're beyond that?
No, I'm not.
No, just the way it's just
the third person threw you off. Okay.
And Seb's here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's me.
No. From the first season. So I don't remember if you played. Did you?
No, I thought you were talking about the semi-final at Tybury.
No. No. I was talking about the Stamford Bridge. But I guess we would have won if you would have played.
Oh, we won.
Would you?
Well, we won the semi-final, but I won't mention that.
I like that, Frank. I like that.
I mean, in fact, yeah. Zola takes all the credit for that wonderful goal, but it was down to other factors, which I don't know. I once saw Vinny running down when Wimbledon were playing their games at Selhurst Park. I once saw Vinny, well, he came flying down the tunnel, which was very narrow, and he properly kicked Gavin Peacock, who was the captain that day or was near the front of the queue. He kicked him up in the backside, properly. Proper light launch. And that was before the kick-off. And he says, and there'll be more of that to come.
A tone setter.
So that's some people you can get in their heads. And I think maybe it did get in Gavin's a little bit, but most people are okay with it.
Sean asks, would you guys scrap VAR now if the Premier League don't use pitch-side monitors? So kind of as is, would you scrap it?
No.
It'll get better.
I'm just saying in the Premier League, you don't think it's gotten like a little out of hand?
It'll get better.
Yeah, it's got
to get better quick, man. There's big decisions that we're still arguing about, right?
Yeah.
Well, listen, as bad as you may think it is, right? Can you imagine all these decisions if we just still relied on one guy in the middle? And all we used to talk about was how the guy in the middle never saw it. How did he not see that? That was definitely this and that was definitely that. It just so happens now with so many cameras, there's a lot more things that they've missed. But once they get better at it, and once they actually get some better eyes behind the camera, to know what they're looking at, it will get better.
Frank, you've criticized how the French have handled VAR. Thoughts on what the English are doing?
Well, I think it's a big mess everywhere. I think it's a big mess because it's not clear. I think we have, as Stevie said, you know, it can be only one guy who decides for a decision, and we can use monitors and electronics to get better, but we have to use it carefully and precisely. We talked last time about what is the normal position for a football player. It has to be clarified, but it helps many other things. For example, a handball like that the ref wouldn't have seen, and it's clear that it would have been a penalty or a foul if it's in the last 16 yards. So I still believe it's going to be better. It's going to make the football better, but we have to work on it.
Next question comes from Robert, which is probably my burner account. Please ask Sid his thoughts on Diego Lainez' future at Real Betis. Sid, tell me some good news. Come on.
Well, there isn't a huge amount of good news at the moment because Betis have a whole load of creative players. They don't necessarily have a natural starting place for him in the team. I think he would have probably had more continuity last season under Quique Setién than he's going to get this year under Rubi. Betis lack players, but they don't lack that kind of player. You know, they could do with a central midfielder who controls the game. They could probably do with a defensive midfielder, although that's partly due to injury at the moment. But the problem that Lainez has, I think, is that he has the best part of 3, maybe 4 players ahead of him playing in what would be his natural role, or at least one of the roles in which he could fit in the team. So I think there's time, obviously. I think there is a willingness to play the kind of style of football that would suit him. But I just think in terms of if you like, the kind of the cue to get a game, he's not right at the top of it. That's the truth.
Craig, your thoughts on Lainez?
I defer to Sid's answers.
Very well.
On all.
Frankie Furter.
I could see you having burner accounts, several.
Yeah?
I could, yeah.
Yeah? Well,
Chucky Lozano one. Christian Pulisic.
A lot of people in American soccer have burner accounts.
And who's the guy that plays for Wolves?
Jimenez. Yeah, the guy who plays for Wolves. Historic.
Ruben Neves as well. You'd do him, wouldn't you?
No.
Well, he's Portuguese.
Just the Mexican international.
No, he's Portuguese, but yeah, it was just the same thing, isn't it?
Stevie, you got a lot of friends on Twitter here. Frankie Furter, get Stevie the biggest cake today. Top lad. Is it your birthday? That's not your birthday. Did I miss it?
No.
Does he look like a man that it needs to be his birthday to have a cake?
No.
Does he? Does he look like a man that only eats cakes on special occasions?
I've got to tell you, by the way, I was at a birthday party last weekend.
Yeah.
That had a cake, and I never had a piece of it.
Wow, why? Are you okay?
Well, they put me off my beer, wouldn't it?
I gotta say, you look great. You look great, Stevie. You've lost weight. Yeah, he's taking shots about your
You
cake.
being sarcastic?
No, you have.
No, he's. I have to say,
I'm just breathing in.
I don't. I think there's a lot of insincerity in that comment. There.
Oh, you think I'm being insincere? That's rich.
Well, yeah, because clearly he doesn't look great.
Well, to you, it's all subjective.
Clearly, I mean, it's clear and obvious. Even VAR would spot that.
I felt a little uncomfortable there when he said that.
What? That I've given you a compliment?
Yeah, you just kind of. I just felt a little uncomfortable.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what was behind it.
Seb's
He
birthday
wants to come
cake.
to your house tonight. He's free.
Oh, that's
he's
what
not going to catch the last flight.
Oh,
you're here all week, aren't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, you're
Told
not going
you.
tonight. And he's look after a free meal.
You will be coming to my house.
Will you be
eventually?
There? Okay, all right. It's just we've got to work out the timing.
Eventually.
Yeah.
As soon as we don't have the kids.
Okay, great. Hey, I'm ready. Seb's birthday cake is the actual Twitter account. Can Steve Nicol please throw his name in the mix when Berhalter inevitably gets sacked? They're talking about the U.S. job.
What happens if they lose to Canada this week?
Well, the kind of guy in charge, Ernie Stewart, has said that Greg Berhalter's job not in jeopardy, regardless of what happens against Canada or Cuba.
Do you know, it's a tough old job.
Cuba?
Yes, Cuba's the second game.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I got a lot.
Right. No, I mean,
I don't care what order the games are in.
Right.
I mean,
the Canada game.
Cuba.
No, they'll roll Cuba. That's not the concern.
That's a tough old job right now, because it seems regardless of what you do, you can't win.
Oh, winning.
Oh, you could win.
Was that a joke or was that a?
No,
they
seriously.
can't win. They just
they can't.
Canada hasn't been.
But the problem is,
relevant in 30 years.
The problem is,
sorry, Canadian.
Before the recent results, or the ones that mattered, and the friendlies when they lost, they were getting criticised. because they're trying to play too much. But then if you did what they should be doing with what they have, and you played it a little longer, then you kind of feel as though it wouldn't be a surprise if people were criticising them for not playing from the back. So you can't win.
So no, you're not leaving us anytime soon.
No.
Plus, you got a great job here.
Well, usually it's great. Now and again, with some changes, it's not quite as good.
Why are you looking at me like that? Why are you looking at me like that? I don't look like Dan. You always complain about the look he's got on his face. You can complain about my face too?
I've never said a word about your face.
All right. That's all the time we've got for whatever this can be described as. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks to Sid. Thanks to Frank, Greg, and Stevie. I am Seb. Yeah. I will not refer to myself in the third person ever again.